Hello and welcome to the Doctors J&J podcast. So glad you joined us again today. Today, we have a treat for you because we are going to be talking about the importance of your own personal crown in relation to two crowns.
This is probably called individual counseling versus couples counseling. This is what we do. So many times where like people come in, they complain about somebody else or their partner or their boss. And we basically say, what can you do about this situation? And when people can understand their own personal power and how much power they actually have, it will change any relationship, any dynamic, any environment.
Exactly. It's powerful. And the concept of taking responsibility for your own personal crown, make sure it's on securely, has so much benefit when you're joining that with another crown.
Yeah, for sure. Another powerful crown.
Exactly.
Not a weak crown.
No weak crowns here.
Somebody that has a crown securely on their head with another person that has their crown securely on their head is the ultimate goal in this. But
right.
Yeah, this is keeping your crown on by being a powerful person. And this is something we talk quite a bit about in counseling with people. And typically in relationships, this is kind of the standing joke. We typically will ask a couple who feels more powerful, and inevitably they always do the other person, right? They point to the other person. Rarely does anybody feel powerful in a relationship. And that's actually can be a dangerous setup for the relationship because then you're always coming from the one down position, like a victim thinking.
Right.
So one thing that's really important is just thinking and seeing yourself in a position of, I'm a king, I'm a queen, right? Standing up tall, put your crown on. It's
self-love.
Self-love is so huge on that. The number one thing though, and this is something that I think Jake's really very strong in, and that is self-regulation. Maybe it's just avoidance. I don't know, but it is the ability to really self-regulate. I can't do in my moments, and sometimes we tag team on that in our own personal relationship. But what we notice with couples, self-regulation is so hard to do in a relationship simply because you both trigger each other. And the more intelligent you are, the more attuned you are to one another, and the more you're playing off of your nonverbal messages.
True.
So self-regulation can be very, very challenging in an intimate relationship. It can be a little bit easier in maybe working relationships or relationships outside the home. But to self-regulate makes you a really powerful person because you have the ability to calm yourself down, to feel what it is that you're feeling, but then you also have the ability to soothe yourself. You have the ability to take yourself from lizard brain, which is all the fight, flight, freeze, forget, fawn, all the F's, and move yourself up to angel brain.
Yeah.
Were you going to add an F?
Well, there's a lot of F's, but this is a family show, so we're going to stay out of those F's. But sometimes when you're not self-regulated and somebody's around you,
this is true.
They want to use another F word.
This is true.
But what is your favorite way to self-regulate?
I don't know if I have a favorite way as much as depending on the situation, but I think there can be everything from taking deep breaths, which is the quickest and easiest way to really calm myself down, is to take a deep breath.
That feels good right now.
Yes. Every time I take a deep breath, I want to yawn. And then I like to focus on something that is soothing. And sometimes it's not always the person that is the opposite of you. Sometimes you have to avert
It's
the
usually
gaze.
not me.
It can be for sure. But you have to find a space to just kind of let your eyes rest and take in something that is beautiful or a different scene, and to feel some of the peace and the beauty around you, because it's always around you. That's probably my favorite thing in self-regulating, is to take a deep breath and then be able to refocus the gaze. That's quick. It's easy. You can do it anywhere. Pausing is really good too, and to think. And also self-talk is huge. So I'll say something like, it's okay. You don't have to express all your emotion. You can feel emotion without expressing all of it. Or you can,
Good reminder.
that's a good reminder. Or you can communicate this in a softer tone if you choose. Just to be able to give yourself the ability to shift your emotional world can feel so powerful. And I like to do that in a situation. Maybe I'm feeling stress, is I like to think of, kind of visualize myself either just losing it and getting really mad and frustrated and angry, or taking a deep breath, calming myself down, and saying exactly what it is that I feel and that I need in that situation. That's when I feel the most powerful. But I can't do that until I can calm my brain down, get out of the back part of the brain, that lizard brain, which is all about survival, and put it into the best part of my brain, which is the angel brain, which is our frontal lobe. So when I can get up there, then I can think really clearly and I can articulate much better what it is that I'm needing with my strong emotions.
That's good. The other thing I think you're really good at is journaling.
I do love journaling. Yes.
Which is a lot of introspection, a lot of gaining insight. And how long have you journaled?
Since I was 5.
Wow.
I'm 55. So that's a lot.
And let me vouch for her. She has mountains of filled journals.
That's probably more of an active, soothing technique. A lot of times I think people need quick, it's almost like you have to have quick self-soothing techniques, and then you can have ones that require a little bit more time and attention. The journaling, obviously, for me, requires a quiet space. I remember when I was a mother with young children, that was rarely the case. So it was usually right before I was heading to bed, and then I could quick jot a few things down in my journal and kind of regulate. I was just reading something really interesting today about Finland and what they do with their children.
Oh.
And a half hour before they go to bed, one of the things they have their kids do is they have them do 15 minutes of journaling. And then they tell them, the kids, once you've done the journaling, now you can leave the journaling with the problems for that day. And so the next day you start new and the problems stay with the day before. And I thought that was so beautiful about them helping their children to also self-regulate, because it is a technique that we have to teach our children.
It's true.
I wish we'd done that better. We didn't have as much information as we do now.
No, we didn't.
It's such a buzz topic now.
No, and I think there's, generations coming up that really, have poor regulation. Some have really good regulation, but I think information is power. And I think we can equip our kids to self-regulate and know how to not throw temper tantrums. I mean, adults are throwing temper tantrums these days.
Absolutely. But I do have to brag on our daughter-in-law a little bit, because she has a calm down kit for our 2-year-old grandson, and it is so cute. And she has him have it's a little basket with a little stuffed animal in it, and a little kind of a wand that has water and glittery water in it that he can move it around. But it's so cute because she'll get the stuffed animal out with the furry hair, and she goes, okay, make his hair move, and he has to blow on the hair. So it's to calm himself down.
Right. It's like faking him out and making him take deep breaths.
Yeah. And then she has him move the little glitter bottle so he can watch the water move in the bottle. So, I think that is just so revolutionary. If we can teach our children how to calm themselves down, what we're actually doing is we're teaching them how to be powerful people.
Exactly. And that's what this episode is all about, is really taking command of being a powerful person and making sure that you're ready for the 2 crowns situation, because you have your crown on, and that, in our next episode, we're going to talk about how to be a power couple, but you can't really be a power couple if you're not a power individual.
Right. And if you can't self-regulate, this is something you bring so much to my attention, and I hear you talk about with our clients, is if you can't self-regulate, you can't be powerful. And
Right.
it is really the key to being powerful. I love the grounding techniques of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can feel, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. You can do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique and just practice that and being able to say, hey, I've got to be a powerful person because I got to learn how to self-soothe. That's not anybody else's job. And I got to do that. And here's the hard part: before I fight, before I have conflict.
That's good.
Yeah.
And it's even better if you have something chocolatey and peanut butter to taste.
Absolutely. Reese's. Reese's is always helpful.
Yeah, that's always good. But another thing that is something that makes you a powerful person is what we call self-responsibility. And that involves a lot of different things. One of it is just being responsible to know yourself and to know what you like, what you don't like, what your values are, your beliefs, your opinions, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, to know what your personality is like. You know, are you a people person? Are you behind the scenes person? Are you an active person? Are you, so many times I talk to people and they just have a very low knowledge of self, right? We've heard that know thyself is such an important concept, but it seems lost. And obviously there was a whole generation of self-help people, right? Tons of self-help books where people were super focused on knowing themselves well. But that idea of myself and who I am is my responsibility.
That's good.
That I choosing not to be a victim, choosing to basically not blame or shame anyone else, and there's a lot of that happening with parents where it's like, oh, I'm this way because of my parents or whatever. And granted, we all have parents that have made mistakes. We've made our own mistakes. But how we turn out and what we do with the hand that's dealt us is our responsibility.
Yeah.
And it's powerful when, we can understand how important it is to take responsibility for our emotions with the self-regulating, but also just parent ourselves as adults. And there's so much involved with, that idea of self-care, right? That's why on the airplane, they tell you to put your mask on first before helping somebody else, because if you're passed out in the seat, you're no good to nobody.
Yeah, true.
And I feel like there's a lot of our clients that we're reminding them to put their mask on when they're trying to take care of the family or take care of their spouse or take care of somebody else. And that is so key in this 2 crowns concept is you can't be helping your partner with their crown if your crown is nowhere to be found. Right. Or if it's sliding off your head or, whatever. So just that idea of taking that personal responsibility for knowing yourself, for regulating yourself, for understanding what you need, what you don't need, what your values are, and not blaming anyone else but yourself for your situation or getting your needs met or, all of that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, the self-responsibility is really hard when bad things happen to you, though, too. Right? That's the hard part. And even then, we encourage people, right, is you got a choice. I like the quote, the best revenge is a happy life, right? So when bad things happen, sometimes people feel like it's my right to be resentful. It's my right to be unforgiving. It's my right to be rageful. It is a understandable and natural consequence to injustice that happens to you as a person. And it's something we tell people, we'll hear that story as many times as you need to, right? So that people can heal and work through that. And ultimately, your personal happiness and your personal thrivability and your ability to flourish is your responsibility.
Exactly.
It's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
I choked you up on that one.
Wow.
Okay. So the other thing is that I think is so important for becoming a powerful person is, and this is something we studied in our doctoral program when we traveled all around the world before COVID, when everything was open. And we traveled about 13 countries and we studied global leadership and we read a lot of books on leadership, some cutting edge books. But one of the profound cutting edge elements of the modern leader is somebody who has high emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
That shocked me. I just think that when you think of a strong leader, you might think of somebody who's assertive, somebody who's really confident, somebody who's a visionary, has strong direction. And absolutely those things are needed. But the thing that made them really powerful in our current world is somebody who has strong emotional intelligence. You've been doing some really great studies on this.
Yeah.
You've really flipped a switch for me in it. So I'd like for you to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Emotional intelligence is powerful. It's kind of been a buzzword for a while, the whole EQ thing and, how it's sometimes more valuable than IQ. And the cool thing about EQ compared to IQ is IQ you can't change.
Yeah.
Your IQ is
set.
You're either smart or dumb. But obviously you can educate yourself and those kinds of things. But your actual level of intelligence that the IQ test measures is set. The cool thing about EQ is you can increase it and you can grow in your emotional intelligence. And a lot of it is being able to recognize your own emotions, and I always say, focus on the primary ones to start with.
Yes.
Which is happy, sad, angry, disgust, shock, fear. Those are the primary emotions. And if you can at least identify those, that makes you powerful. But the one of the concepts that I didn't ever realize was a part of emotional intelligence was the fact that you can harness your emotions to accomplish goals.
Yes.
Which I think you do incredibly well at.
Thank you.
And it's all that powerful emotion that you channel to get things done.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of sense. If you can't harness that emotion for good and to get somewhere, your emotions just flying all over and there's no intelligence in that. It's like, it's kind of watching, obviously like a toddler, if there's a whole room of toddlers that are emotional with zero EQ, it's chaos.
It truly is.
But when you think about somebody who's grounded, who knows their emotion, knows how to name them and can channel that to accomplish something, it's super powerful.
Yes, it is. In fact, you gave me my word for the year, which was harness. I just love that
You're
concept.
welcome.
You bet. Thank you. It's so much about being able to take your emotional world and really harness it and be able to get really fine-tuned in the direction that you want to go and what you want to accomplish, instead of just throwing a temper tantrum, throwing a fit, arguments. I hate arguments. They're so ineffective because it's like, what? Are we just trying to make sure somebody's right, somebody's wrong? Or can we just get the problem solved and move forward?
Right.
So the emotional intelligence, basically, if you can answer two questions: what do I feel and what do I need? And one of the questions we ask our clients quite a bit is, what is the purpose of feelings? I don't think anybody's ever answered this well or correctly.
I think a lot of people think that they're somewhat of a waste of time. And what I hear is people saying, well, it's not going to change anything.
Exactly.
What's the point?
Exactly. Which is somebody typically that is pretty reasonable, maybe a high IQ and has a lot of reasonability, but maybe in critical thinking skills, but struggle to really understand the value of emotion. But the value of emotion is to let you know whether or not you have your met or unmet need. And once I understood that, I realized it's so important for me to really harness my emotion dial it in. If I can't, go to the whole 50 emotions, like Jake said, pick one of the 6. I think I can decide, am I happy? Am I sad? Am I disgusted or what?
Right.
Pick one and then say to myself, now what do I need? I need support. I need a hug. I need quiet time. I need
Right.
empathy.
Yeah. And research shows that women can tend to get to their feelings sooner, but not their needs. And men tend to get to their needs sooner.
Right.
Compared to their feelings, which is interesting because when you think of this whole idea of gender synergy and being a power couple, how powerful that is to sharpen each other in that.
Well, sure.
In terms of like, hey, let's get to your need. Hey, let's get to your feeling. Like understanding that dynamic.
Right. And sometimes like you'll come out strong saying, we need to leave at this time. And I'll be confused because I'm like, gosh, it sounds intense. And I'm like, but if I can stop and say, hey, what are you feeling? Which seems like kind of a silly question, but because we have a value for increasing our emotional intelligence, you typically will do a big breath. And then you say something like, I feel nervous. I feel anxious. I feel uncertain. I feel frustrated.
Right.
I feel scared that we're not going to leave on time. We're going to be late and we're going to miss the plane.
Right.
And then I can understand why this intensity is there. It helps me then to be able to connect more with you too as your partner, but also to be able to have empathy for you, some compassion, and then be able to even give some solutions. Like, hey, since you're feeling anxious, have you done some self-regulating? Why don't you take a couple deep breaths before we get back and
take a Valium?
Yeah.
No. But yeah, I think that is such a revolutionary thing that I see with clients is not having the value for emotions because they're automatically thinking that we need to have something that is going to change the outcome.
That's a good point. And emotions seem like a waste of time or even emotional energy. Let's move to the strategy.
Well,
let's move to the need.
Yeah. Like, let's say I lost my job and I'm sad about it. Some people would say there's no point in being sad about it because you can't get your job back.
Yeah.
But what we don't realize is just the act of expressing that emotion, naming it, makes you a powerful person because it doesn't just stay in the back of the fridge in the sour cream tub. You know what happens to that when we forget about it?
Yes.
Becomes a science experiment.
That's true.
And then we wonder why the fridge smells.
That's right.
Right.
That's true.
So if you don't want your life to smell with the sadness from your lost job,
clean out your emotional cup.
Clean it out.
Yeah.
Like open that sucker up.
Yeah.
Dump it down the drain and go, I feel sad and this sucks.
But also one of the things that if you happen to be somebody who is pretty emotional or emotionally driven or passionate, is sometimes not everybody wants to know all those emotions. I'm like, that's where I say, that's your private voice, right? Take it to your journal. Maybe take it to your therapist. Take it to a good friend, right? And kind of hash through some of those emotions, the strong ones, the maybe not so sane ones, whatever those are, and everybody has it, so that you can get to that primary question. And for women, it is what you need. And when you say to me, after I've been complaining about something and feeling something, you look at me and you say, honey, what do you need? I usually take a deep breath and go, let's see, what do I need? And this is where I take personal accountability on that. If I can identify, who cares if I could sit here and talk 15 minutes about what I feel, but if I can't say what I need, you can't connect with me, and you quite frankly could care less after about the first 2 minutes, right? And then you're like, oh, when is this going to stop? And this is where men then start to try to fix. It's the worst thing you can do.
Right.
And sometimes I'll say, don't fix me. Let me just figure this out.
Right.
And then if you can say to me, what do you need? And then I take the personal responsibility to get there. Now you can connect with me and you're like, okay, I can give you that hug. Okay, I can do this. Okay, we can.
Exactly. And how many times have you been huffing and puffing and upset? And then you're like, why didn't you do this for me? And I say, why didn't you tell me what you needed?
Yeah, it's true.
And it's like, Oh, that would have been simple.
Well, that's another thing you're pointing out, which is probably for another episode too, but the difference between men and women, right?
That
Which is
true.
men and women are very different in that where women typically, research shows, can tend to be a little bit more attuned as far as reading the nonverbals and maybe seeing what needs to be done. And men struggle with that a little bit more. And sometimes they get shamed and they get,
Right.
dismissed or criticized. And really what they need is a very clear, kind communication that is super concrete. So they know exactly what to do. If I just come in and complain, man, the floor is always so dirty, I can't believe this. You're like, and? But if I say to you, man, the floor is dirty, I'm really struggling because I can't get this cleaned up and I don't have time. Jake, would you mind getting the vacuum and cleaning it up? Now we can have connection. That's when you can have a powerful sense of self because you know what you feel and now you have a need and that's how I get things done, right? Is what you were saying earlier.
Right. You channel that.
Yeah. Harness that emotional energy. I want to keep getting better at that, but increasing my emotional intelligence, my EQ, makes me a more powerful person.
Exactly. And I would say when it comes to your own crown, for one, we have to assess that, is my crown on? Do I know how to set boundaries? That's that's probably a whole nother episode is, am I loving myself enough to protect myself, to set boundaries, to, have good self-care?
Yeah.
Self-care is kind of a lost art, I think. And ironically, a lot of the leadership books we read too in our doctoral studies talked about the leader who did good self-care and did good self regulation and
development
and took time for themselves, took time off, were some of the best leaders.
True.
And if we're going to lead better together, we need to take care of ourselves. And, whether that be exercise, eating, taking time for, meditation or rest or all of those things.
That's good. And sometimes we'll see one person is taking care of that for both people in the relationship. It's not usually the man, but it's a lot of times it's the woman that is.
Why would you say that?
Taking responsibility for setting up doctor's appointments, making sure the babysitter is scheduled, making sure that the housekeeper is coming on time, or different things are met in the house and in the children's needs. So a lot of times that person, and it's not always the woman, but a lot of times that's what we see to be the
stereotypical. Yeah,
stereotypical. The person that's doing the most caretaking typically is doing the worst job of self-caretaking. And that's usually where they're getting what we call relational burnout. Yeah,
they become the martyr. They become somewhat codependent and, they start dying on the vine and then everybody suffers.
Correct.
And so it's super important to know, how to regulate that and have, just putting yourself on the list. I tell people all the time, like everybody has a list of all the things that they need to do or get done or help. And it's like, don't forget to put yourself on the list.
Yeah. Can't give what you don't have. Why don't you share the crown jewel from this?
This is a new thing. I mean, we're getting a little cheesy, but we're getting very on theme.
We are.
Right? Because we're all about wearing two crowns. And obviously, crowns have jewels in them.
Correct.
So therefore, if we want, gold nugget, we're not talking about
not
panning
so
for gold. Crown jewel is our gold nugget, but
primary point,
something we want to leave you with. That's kind of really, I think, revolutionary.
Yeah.
And we want you to noodle on. And the crown jewel for today is, if you want to be a powerful person, and you want to keep your crown on securely, you need to learn the art and skill of self-regulation,
right,
self-responsibility, and self-knowledge and self-care. So a lot of selves.
Yeah.
But if you care for yourself and you know yourself, you can regulate your emotions and you take responsibility for, who you are and everything you feel and need.
Yeah.
Your crown will be secure, and some other crown wandering around will want to join with your crown.
But make sure that they're also doing all the self stuff. And let me just say this, because I run into this a lot, especially with the women that I work with. They get very confused about what is self-nurturing and what is selfish. And the one thing that we want to continue to differentiate between, and also give you a permission slip to write out that says self-nurturing is a powerful, responsible thing to do for yourself at any age.
Good. Which is not selfish.
No.
That's good. Well, thanks again for joining us. We had fun just diving into this. If there's something in here that meant something to you or helped you, we encourage you to pass it along to a friend, colleague, and give us a like and follow, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.